Hello there, everybody. Welcome back to another Binding of Isaac related video. I mean, I don't know what to call it at this point. This is a news related video about an upcoming game that I'm insanely excited for, The Legend of Bumbo. Now, I know what you're thinking, Bumbo, is this an Isaac sequel? No, it's not an Isaac sequel, but it is from the same creator of Isaac, Edmund McMillen, and it's actually a prequel to the story of The Binding of Isaac. This is one of my most anticipated games of the year, and there's a lot to unpack with it. So we're just going to hop in, and we're going to take a look at everything that I know, so that you can know, and we can all be hyped about this together. So really, what is The Legend of Bumbo at its core? Legend of Bumbo is a puzzling, deck-building roguelite similar to Slay the Spire or Dicey Dungeons, but it has a new mechanic that hasn't really been done in a roguelite fashion yet. It features a match 4 grid that is used to activate spells and items to fight enemies and traverse through the many floors of the game. Now I know what you're thinking, damn, a match 4 game? That's not really all that great, but it's so much more than that, and hopefully you're going to see that as I explain. So here you can see the set of spells that Bumbo may have through the game, with each of them doing something different. Hitting the furthest enemy, giving extra damage, gaining certain mana, or just adding more of a certain tile to the board. All of these effects are activated by performing the match indicated on the spell. So you can see how these synergies pile up. Oh, you need more yellows on the board? Well, we'll activate this to add more of that, and then we can do that. There are many passive abilities as well, similar to Isaac or relics in Slay the Spire, that you're going to receive at the end of dungeons after fighting bosses. These will then add even more effects to the game to increase the replayability and variety that the game has. Fighting enemies also gives you coins that can then be used in the casino to upgrade spells or stats throughout your run. There's a lot going on, and that's Bumbo at its core. But let's go in a little bit deeper now and get some more details about some certain stuff. So let's talk about the board itself. There are different tiles that are going to be matched on your board, and each of them does something different when matched at a higher value. So bones are going to make low damage single hit attacks let you choose multiple targets as they scale up. Teeth will make attacks that scale up greatly damage wise but only hit one target. Boogers stick down on an enemy, causing them to lose actions on their turn depending on how many boogers were applied. Poop is going to make defensive barriers that can be combined into large mounds that absorb damage. And Pee is going to gain you bonus movement points and charge items. Each of those is kind of going to be talked about in a bit more detail later as to what, movement points are and things like that. So stay tuned. Each of these tiles also comes with an ultimate combo for matching 7 of them, but we don't know what those are yet. I'm sure they're going to be insane though. These tiles are combined with then the synergies of over 100 spells and 100 trinkets. That's going to create a deeply strategic roguelite with a lot of variety and replayability. This replayability is a big concern for the game, but there are multiple characters whose difficulties scale as you progress and play more, and it does also feature unlocks similar to The Binding of Isaac, so you'll be unlocking more as you play to make the game easier, or in the cases of the other characters, sometimes harder. Before we talk more about the characters, let's talk enemies. Enemies can spawn in rooms in a 3x3 grid, and when you attack, you choose a column, and then your attack will hit the closest enemy in that column. Now, you may remember earlier there was a spell that hit the furthest enemy in that column. That's where you can get this variety. This GIF here demonstrates 3 enemies in each column, with Bumbo throwing a bone at one of them. These enemies' health is seen to the left of the enemy and is visible at all times so you can plan out your moves. There's many different enemies and a few that we've gotten to see in detail, so let's talk about them. Tato Kids have 1 action point and 2 HP, and they move slowly and attack only when they're in range. They have the chance to turn into leapers on death, which we'll talk about shortly. These guys seem to be pretty easy and kind of the base standard enemy you'll be fighting, as they don't really do much to you personally. Leapers have 1 action point as well and 2 HP, but they will take a turn off to prime their attack before hitting you at any distance on the board. So while the Tato Kids have to be closer, the Leapers can actually hit you from anywhere, making them a little bit more dangerous. Tall Boys have 1 action point but 4 HP, and they're the first spell casting enemy that you'll encounter. So they can do 2 different spells. One can summon dips, or they can summon toxic gas, which is going to attack Bumbo if attacked on that turn. These guys are going to be really annoying for that reason. And finally, we learned about boomflies that are going to act similar to how they did in Isaac. They're going to move around, and when they're close enough to attack, they're going to explode if you get too close to them. And these are just the enemies in the first chapter of the game, which is the Sewers of Dross. There are multiple chapters and many, many enemies that you're going to face. So now let's talk about some specific stats to Bumbo himself. This video shows the casino hub that Bumbo's going to enter every time he defeats a boss. This can be used to upgrade stats or buy upgrades to items or trinkets. This is the wheel of stats right here, memes, I know, that can provide us with the certain stats that Bumbo has. So the heart is going to raise your HP by 1 and give you a full heal, which is going to be super important after a long floor. The fist is going to increase the spell damage that you deal by 1. The puzzle is going to raise the damage that your puzzle attacks deal by 1. The foot is going to give you an extra movement point, and movement points are essentially how many moves you can make on a given turn. A clover is going to raise your critical hit chances and yield bonus coins. This is also similar to your luck stat. And the coin is going to give you 20 coins and let you spin again. So that's kind of like your jackpot on the wheel. The other 2 parts of this casino hub are the Skull Game and Prick Pusher. So Skull Game works similar to Isaac with rewards such as rare trinkets, soul hearts, and bonus coins, while the Prick Pusher is much more interesting. It has a variety of needles that can modify your current items and spells in a variety of ways. This may be decreasing their cost or increasing their damage, things like that. This creates even more variety onto the already insane amount of variety in these items, which is pretty crazy. So finally, let's chat a little bit about the characters that we know about so far. So there are 4 guaranteed characters that have been revealed by Ed, but he has hinted at more, and let's be honest, it's an Ed game. There's gonna be a secret character in Bumbo. So each of the 4 current classes represent the 4 main fantasy archetypes: fighter, wizard, cleric, and thief. So Bumbo the Brave is the fighter. He hits hard and can take a beating. Bumbo the Weird is the wizard, who is a glass cannon who's all about strategy. Bumbo the Stout is a cleric, a defensive-driven chonker who loves to eat. And Bumbo the Nimble is a thief, a quick stabby dude who loves to steal. We don't know much about all of them in specifics yet, except for Bumbo the Brave, so let's hop in and talk about him. Bumbo the Brave's starting items are Bumbo Smash and Snow Globe. Bumbo Smash is a high damage attack that does 3 damage and costs 4 bones or white mana to use. It's going to hit the closest enemy in a column. The Snow Globe is unique as it's a puzzle spell. This is going to cost 2 black mana or teeth and re-roll the entire puzzle board. This is great if you need a specific combo and you can't quite get that combo to work out. Bumbo the Brave starts with 3 HP, which is the highest of all characters, and 3 spell damage, which is the highest of all characters. He gets 2 moves and does 1 puzzle damage and starts with no luck. He also has a starting passive ability, the Bag of Last Gasp. This item will give Bumbo an extra spell and puzzle damage when he has 2 hearts, and an extra spell and puzzle damage when he has 1 heart. So this plays similar to Eve with Horror Babylon and incentivizes playing a little bit more dangerously to get that extra damage. These different characters will not have different item pools like Dicey Dungeons or Slay the Spire, as the spells can work hand in hand with each character and make play different even though they are the same spell. Each of the characters also has 10 plus unlocks to uncover and reveal, and there are multiple endings to the game as well, which may be tied down to the certain characters. The game is going to take around 45 minutes to complete a run, similar to Isaac, but if you're fast, you'll probably finish the game quicker. And finally, on a more serious note, it will be available on PC on November 12th for $14.99, but on consoles at a later date, and will not be published by Nicholas any longer, since the unfortunate news that you may have heard about. You can Google it if you want to know more, but I'd prefer not to talk about it in the comments of this video. I'm really excited for this game, and it will be a day 1 purchase and day 1 video upload for me, so keep your eyes peeled, and if I get any more information, I'll be sure to send it your way. Thanks so much for watching. I'll catch you guys in the next video. You have a good one. Goodbye.